In this video, I'm going to walk you through the most precise and effective LinkedIn ads audience targeting options. Stick around as I show you which settings to keep turned off that'll drain your budget and which targeting options don't work. My LinkedIn ads agency has managed over $20 million in LinkedIn ad spend, and we've done every type of targeting you can imagine. Let's jump in. All right, so here we are in our audience targeting. We're going to go to audience attributes and job experience, and we're going to start with the most basic level of targeting. We'll start with job titles. So let's say we're going to target chief marketing officers, maybe VPs of marketing. We can add those. And how about directors of marketing? Marketing director. All right, close this. Now we've got 3 job titles here, and you want to keep an eye on the right over here on our audience size. As we narrow down our audience, we'll see the audience size get smaller. And the ICP we're targeting here all happen to be senior level decision makers in the marketing department. So now that you know how to add job titles, I want to show you another way to do something similar. We're going to remove all attributes, and we're going to go back to audience attributes, job experience, and this time we're going to start with the job function. So like we said, everyone we're targeting is in the marketing department. So we're going to do marketing as a job function. And now we're going to also add the seniority that these people are at the C level, the VP level, and director level. So now you'll notice that our audience size is larger, but it's quite similar who we're targeting. Our targeting here would include the CMO, the VP of marketing, and the director of marketing, but it might include other job functions like the chief growth officer, the VP of growth, as well as maybe director of demand gen. I often like to start this way with job functions and seniority because it allows us to capture a lot of people that might not have the exact titles we think we want, but that are still very relevant for us. Now we can continue layering on other attributes. So let's start looking at the company. Now we'll want to think about the company size. And I do want to point out that this attribute of company revenue is sort of like a guesstimate on LinkedIn's end, and I don't recommend using it because LinkedIn doesn't exactly know. But something that's a little more reliable is company size, because companies self-report this information, though they don't always keep it up to date. So for us, we're going to include company sizes of at least 50, 200, up to 1,000 people. Again, keeping an eye on our audience size, it's getting smaller, which is good. All right, let's narrow down further by the company industries we want to target. Now, LinkedIn's taxonomy of company industries is not always the best. Sometimes they're a little broad, and there's subcategories and there's subcategories. And look, subcategories. So we're a little limited by what LinkedIn offers us to work with. And sometimes it's important to do research on your actual target companies and see how they categorize themselves. For us, we're going to be targeting technology and professional services. All right, our audience size is getting closer in line, and now we're even more targeted. So we're targeting everyone who's working in marketing, who's senior and a decision maker, who's working at a company of 50 to 1,000 employees and is in one of these industries. Later on in this video, I'm going to show you how to save and reload this audience as well. Now, most people think that LinkedIn ads targeting is just about job titles and company industries, but the real power of LinkedIn's precision targeting is in layering on advanced targeting options. So let's start with the most underrated attribute, skills. LinkedIn allows you to add skills to your profile and other people can validate them. And most people using audience targeting don't do this. But using skills allows us to further find people who are doing exactly what we're looking for. Let's call it B2B marketing, B2B strategy in this case. Let's also add demand generation. And now we're targeting only people who have these skills added to their profile. Now notice that LinkedIn is using these and statements here, but then it says any of these skills. If we wanted to, we can say that they have to have all of these skills. So we could instead add it again. And now we're saying that someone has to have these skills and this skill. Another powerful attribute is to look at groups that people are a member of. We might be looking for people who are a member of some CMO groups. So you search for what you're looking for and add them right in. And you can see our audience is pretty small, but oftentimes people who are part of groups tend to be pretty targeted. In fact, if our audience is too small, we can start removing some of these up here and loosen it up a little bit. Another targeting option is member interests. LinkedIn has an idea of what people are interested in, so we can search for some of those, and maybe we're looking for people who are interested in marketing strategies. There are also member traits which you can explore here. For example, people who have recently started a new job or have recently been promoted. We also have a demographic section, so we can target people by their age by picking an age range here. We can target people by their gender. There's of course education, so we can target people by their degrees or fields of study. We can also target people by their years of experience. LinkedIn sort of guesstimates on this based on how many years they've been working. And when I added this one here, notice that LinkedIn made this an or statement. We're going to keep this an and statement. In the company section, we can also target by people who are following your page. And we can also target by the company's growth rate. For example, if a company has negative growth rate, we might not want to target them. Which brings us to exclusions. We definitely want to exclude certain people that we do not want to target. So for example, if we go back to company growth rate, we can exclude people because we clicked on the exclusion section, and now we're going to exclude people who are in companies that have negative growth. Now, I've pointed out the audience size a few times, and why is this important? Well, if the audience size is too big, then we're really not targeting enough. And if the audience size is too small, they're going to be very hard to reach and more expensive to reach. Not everyone we're targeting is online every day, so even an audience of 50,000 people might mean that 10,000 or 5,000 of them are showing up on LinkedIn per day. If the audience size is too small, it's also harder to scale. LinkedIn recommends a minimum audience size of at least 50,000 people, and it won't even run a campaign unless there's at least 300 people. Realistically though, you can target an audience of 20 or 30,000 people, even 10,000. Again, it's just harder to reach those people and can become more expensive. On the top side, I wouldn't go past around 200,000 people because beyond that, you're not really gaining anything. Separately, it's also really important to test multiple audiences. As we were playing around with the different audience targeting options, what you really want to do is have multiple audiences based on different targeting options. Now, what if you have a list of people or companies you want to target? We can do that too. So to target a list of people or companies that you have, click on Plan and go to Audiences. The first thing we're going to do is create a new matched audience, and then we're going to choose Company or Contact. Click Next, and there's a drop down here depending on whether we're targeting a list of people or a list of companies. When you change this list, it actually changes the template over here, which is important for us. So if we're targeting a list of people, we're going to download the template, and LinkedIn will provide you with this template, and you can fill in the list of people that we want to target. If you have personal emails or sometimes work emails, you'll get a pretty good match. If you don't have emails, you can always use first name, last name, their job title, and their company. Once your list is ready, just give it a name, choose the template, and click Agree and Upload. Now you'll see it says that the contact list is building. This can take 24 to 48 hours for LinkedIn to match the actual people in this list to their actual LinkedIn profiles. And once it's ready, you can use this list in your targeting. A company list works in a very similar way. And if you have the URL of the company's LinkedIn company page, this will be the most accurate way to match companies. In fact, you only need this information. If you don't, a second best is the company's website. And if you don't have either of these, you can use the company name, but I've seen LinkedIn sometimes match the wrong company name if there are other similar company names out there. In LinkedIn, you can also build audience for retargeting. LinkedIn's retargeting capabilities are incredible. And if you want to go deeper on this, check out my other video on it. Here's a quick walkthrough. All right, so to create audiences for retargeting, we're going to create a matched audience. And now we're going to use one of these other options. For example, if we want to target our website visitors, we'll choose that option here. And in order to use this, you'll have to have LinkedIn's Insight tag or their pixel installed. You can choose how many days in the past you want to retarget them from. You can also choose specific pages or buttons that they came from. And if you scroll down, you can actually manually enter URLs. You can also build audiences based on people who've engaged with your ads. For example, people who've watched enough of your video, or people who have clicked on an image ad, or have engaged with the event ad, people who have engaged with conversation ads and document ads. So one of my favorite ones for video, you can retarget people who have watched at least 50% of your video or an amount that you choose. For image ads, you can choose people who have engaged with your ad or performed a chargeable click on your ad. My retargeting video goes much further in detail. Now, if you want to save and reuse an audience for later, when you're building it in the campaign, you can click over here on Save Audience, give it a name, and it'll get saved. When you come back over to Plan and then open Audiences, and then click on Saved, you'll see your audience there. If you want to reuse that audience in a campaign, just go to Saved Audiences and load it. Now, LinkedIn's AI has gotten much better at targeting the right people over the last few years. I've seen LinkedIn's predictive audiences work extremely well and extremely terrible based on the data going into it. You can base a predictive audience on the matched audiences we just saw. So for example, you can upload a list of contacts that you think are ideal, and LinkedIn will go and find more people like them. You can also use the people that have engaged with your ads, and LinkedIn will find more people like those people engaging. If you're uploading a list for LinkedIn to find more people like, you have to make sure that 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 list is really good. With machine learning, it's really garbage in, garbage out, so you want to make sure that that list of people is ideal. To create a predictive audience, you're going to go to Create Audience and Predictive Audience. Here you can give it a name. You can use a contact list or company list that we uploaded. You can also use a retargeting list, conversions, or a lead gen form. Now finally, let me show you the 3 most important default settings that you need to fix. Number 1, for the location, you want to make sure it's a permanent location. Number 2, and this is one of the most important, you want to make sure that Enable Audience Expansion is always turned off. This never improves performance. Based on all the research and all my experience, everything I've seen and heard, this should always be turned off. And number 3, LinkedIn Audience Network, we also want always turned off. Again, it does not improve performance and doesn't help you reach your goals. And that's it. Good luck with your audience targeting.